Penn State rallied from down 0-2 to Texas to come back and win the title. BYU here for the first time in the championship game, trying to become the first unseeded team to win a national championship. And they would need to make some history to do it.
And they were in a good position. They were up 12-8, forcing Coach Rose to use that time, burn that first time out much earlier than he would like.
Penn State gets a point on the Hancock serve. That's just the second she's gotten for them thus far. BYU's been pretty good against her. Hancock goes to Franti. Net violation on BYU. Down 0-2 and coming back to win it all. Hawaii in 1982, UCLA in 1991, and Penn State in 2009.
That was the one where they went in at the intermission and Coach Rose pretty much peeled the paint off the walls and let them have it. And they came back to beat Texas 15-13 in the fifth game.
That was the second in the Penn State four-peat. From 2007 to 2010, 4 straight titles. Came back and won another one last year. And the point for Grant. (41-2) in the NCAA tournament over the last 8 years for the Nittany Lions. Hancock with the back set to Whitney, dug up by Welling. Nobles gets a swing and gets the kill.
Sometimes, Beth, as the matches wear on, you'll see coaches decide to put a new server at the service line. They could put any one of their 6 players on the floor ready to serve, but neither coach changing anything, so we expect the same matchup. Hancock was the first server for Penn State, same starting rotation for BYU. And I think that was because Coach Olmsted thought to himself, look, we were so close. We were at 23 all, 24 all, right there.
Lost the first set by 4, the second set by 2. A disconnect there for BYU. It's a point, Penn State.
And we heard with the interview with Holly, Coach Rose talking about how we have to contain number 10, the middle hitter. You could see how interested the Penn State blockers were. 2 people up on that play.
Hampson gets a swing and the kill. Let's check in with Holly.
BYU has some fantastic fans at home in Provo, Utah. They have jammed into the court where BYU usually plays at the Smith Fieldhouse. They're watching it up on the big screen. They are great fans. They usually pack that place for home matches. Elaine Michaelis, who built that program, is proud as that is the court named after her.
And thanks to BYU TV for hooking us up with that footage. Elaine Michaelis was the coach when the Cougars were here in the national semifinals in 1993, and now back 21 years later and going one step farther, playing in their first championship.
And she was around at summer camp when Alexa Gray was there, and she said, you got to land her. And Coach Sean Olmsted did. She was the first commit in his tenure as coach in his 4th season here with BYU.
And this year, the West Coast Conference Player of the Year. She has rotated out. Hancock and Washington were there with a block. Good defense for Penn State, keeps it up. Robbins Hardy going to Boswell, and Courtney solo right on the net.
Courtney, again, is Penn State's best left side blocker. Penn State chooses to just leave her one-on-one, and boy, does she take care of business.
Olmsted doesn't want the train to get rolling too far down the tracks here in the third. He'll call a timeout with Penn State up a couple sets and up 3 points. Oklahoma City and Chesapeake Energy Arena. Beth Bowens, Karch Karai, Holly Rowe, and the national championship match. And out of the timeout, the kill for Jennifer Hampson, her 11th.
That's that rotation that can be so costly for BYU if they don't execute well. That time, perfect execution. And now Now Alexa Gray checking back in. She's the one who came alive for them, but they didn't have her on the floor at the end of that second set when they needed her most to finish it out.
Megan Courtney gets the kill. Point Penn State.
And boy, was Courtney good in the semifinals 2 nights ago against Stanford. Unstoppable. Career high 23 kills.
Also had 16 digs on the night. One thing she has talked about is the experience of these Penn State players to just go out and play it like it's any other game. That's part of the culture that has been passed down from the championship teams year to year in Happy Valley. Point Nittany Lions.
One of the few times that Gray has been stopped all tournament long, and really it was the net that stopped her on that one. Trying to hit down and too sharp.
They'll get it to her again and uses Hancock for the point.
And I think that's a pretty good choice by Robbins Hardy to get it back to her big gun on the left side. Make sure Gray keeps going. They're going to need her to be big. And at this point, if you're BYU, you got to be thinking we just need to get one set and give ourselves the ability to believe that we can beat this team as good as Penn State is. Very tentative swing by Gray there.
Point Penn State. Sometimes when you play the Nittany Lions, there's some intimidation just in the jersey alone. You certainly didn't get that sense from BYU as they were preparing for this national championship match. They have knocked off 4 seeded teams in a row, trying for a 5th and their first national title. Pushed wide by Gray.
And they better be careful, BYU. That was not a well-executed play. Having trouble looking each other in the eye. This is the time you have to come together when you're down by 5 and down 2-0 in sets to keep the season alive.
Back to Gray. Block is able to slow it down again. Hancock shoots it all the way across to the freshman Franti, and she's denied. Stuffed by Young.
A rare stuff on BYU's right side, and it's because they finally closed that seam between the two blockers.
Chance for the Cougars. Hampson. Courtney was there. Now she'll swing out of the back. The rocket from Courtney. Point Penn State.
Wow, has she been good in this tournament? I like the outlet here of setting just behind the setter. She had gone beyond the midpoint of the court, and there was a lot of space to hit at for Megan Courtney.
Nittany Lions now, you can sense the momentum on that side of the net. From the players and from the fans, they're used to these situations. They've seen it enough. The ace for Hancock.
Her first ace. This is that motion that she has, that left-handed curveball that goes right into the corner pocket.
BYU has to use its second and final timeout. Things are starting to get away from them as Penn State is trying to lock down another national championship. In this NCAA tournament, that was after the semis a couple of nights ago. They need a major turnaround if he's going to have a photo op later tonight, because right now the Nittany Lions are looking dominant.
Hancock with good rhythm those last 2 serves, an ace and then a near ace, creating an easy blocking opportunity for Penn State.
Just like we saw last year in the finals, she's getting better behind the line the deeper we get into the match. 4 points already on her 2 serves this set. And the roll, get it another one.
And what's interesting, this is Gray's responsibility but she's late arriving, and then when she gets up, watch, she doesn't go into the huddle. This is the time BYU, as a young and less experienced team, nobody's been here before, they really have to band together. They need each other more than ever now.
Back set, they go to Whitney again. Robbins Hardy was there. They have to use the libero to set. They don't get a good swing on it, and it's Franti pushing it deep. And Hampson sends it long. 16-7, Nittany Lions. BYU doesn't have a timeout to slow it down.
They have used up their timeouts. They've had a couple of touches that were not what they wanted by any means. Hampson with that last one got to at least give your team a chance. And there's another chance off the tough serve of Hancock.
And the block will end it momentarily here for BYU.
Alexa Gray setting up and taking line. Franti's been having success at that, but she hasn't been hitting against Gray over there.
Gray now rotates out. See if that might be a play, though, that will get her going. And the double contact whistled on Robbins Hardy.
That's a good call.
Opportunities are running shorter for BYU. Down 17-8 in the third. If Penn State wins the set, they win the match. They win a record 7th national championship. It would be their 6th in 8 years. Point Penn State. And now the only way to slow things down a bit is to get some substitutions into the game. Russ Rose and Penn State, the first 3 times they came to the finals, they lost. And now the last 6 times, they've gone home victorious, trying to make it 7 straight. Whitney, stuffed but kept alive, and the kill for Grant. Off the ricochet, and all the bounces going Penn State's way.
A really good blocking move by BYU, but a scramble play. Nobody can plan for this. A stab at the ball by Whitney, and it goes into the perfect place to score.
Hampson uses the block. It's the kill for BYU. 12 now for Jennifer.
As you said, out of timeouts, the only thing BYU could do to slow things down, even for just a couple of seconds, is to substitute out Jen Hampson just for a play.
Hancock with the one-handed back set. BYU able to bounce it up. Whitney again through the block. 11 kills now for Ayana.
Clearly, Penn State having the belief that they have a great advantage behind the setter, hitting on that right side. No success for BYU on defense, though.
Hampson got it down. Hancock. Courtney swooping in for the kill. Oh, no, check that net violation on Penn State. Point for BYU.
Would have been a kill, but the ball stayed in the air so long because she hit it so hard that she then landed and her momentum took her into the net.
Here's Hampson back to serve. Redirected by Nobles. Courtney off the block. Coming on strong. Her 9th kill of the match. 4 points away from a record 7th national championship for the Nittany Lions. in Russ Rose's 10th trip to the final. Back to Courtney. Last year when they won it all, they won the final 25 matches they played. This year, hot again when it matters the most. If they close it out, it would be 20 wins in a row en route to a championship. Courtney. Misfired, point Cougars.
There were a lot of people thinking number 5 seed might be a little low for the NCAA tournament with a tradition like Penn State's.
Courtney relentless here in the third. And it's appearing like the remarkable run for the unseeded Cougars may be coming to an end. Out of the back. Point BYU. Serve received now for the Nittany Lions and a chance to get it to match point. Washington stood up. Franti missed it. 2 freshmen for Penn State had a chance. Outside to Franti. Hampson well off the net. Match point, Nittany Lions. On the brink of a 6th title in 8 years. Off the tape and the ace to end it. And the dynasty continues in Happy Valley with a record 7th NCAA crown.